So with this video, I plan to explain what a logical fallacy is, or at least um, provide some crucial information to help you understand the basic concept of a logical fallacy. So, what is a logical fallacy? Logical fallacies are common errors in reasoning that will undermine the logic of your argument. Fallacies can either be illegitimate arguments or irrelevant points, and are often identified because they lack evidence that supports their claim. Avoid these common fallacies in your own arguments and watch for them in others. This is a list of 20 most common fallacies. We're going to explain a few of these, maybe about 11, because the main goal of me giving the definition of these is not to help you or make you memorize these fallacies, but instead to give you the ability to identify a fallacy, even if you haven't heard of it, just by understanding what a fallacy really is. You'll understand when I continue. So now let's take a look at some of these. The ad hominem means against the man. As the name suggests, it's a literary term that involves commenting on or against an opponent to undermine him instead of his arguments, attacking the man instead of attacking the argument. Appeal to common belief. Just because it's common belief does not make it true. Example, at one time, many people believed the world was flat, not all. Appeal to emotion, using the fact that someone has an emotional relationship with subjects associated with beliefs as justification for the beliefs. Example, I believe in Santa because if he's not real, then I'd be sad. That's a pretty bare bones example, but there are many more sophisticated and complex examples. Appeal to faith, appealing to faith to justify your belief. Example, I believe it because I have undeniable faith that it is real. You need to provide extra reason. Appeal to law, appealing to the legality or illegality of a topic to justify your belief or argument. Argument from offense, arguments that focus on attacking other person's logic/beliefs to justify their own. See, your logic's wrong, which indirectly makes my logic right. That is a fallacy. Argument from trauma, using trauma to justify your belief. If, let's just say, there's a debate going on about a certain topic of whether or not car crashes or some sort of traumatic experience affects some sort of thing. And one of the people was in a car crash, and that was a traumatic experience for them. They can't use their experience and that they had a traumatic experience as a fact to justify what they're saying. Yes, acknowledging the fact that that's not a perfect analogy, since the experience of a traumatic experience could be just gives more information, or provides them with more information and insight on the topic, but you get the basic idea. Begging the question fallacy, when an argument's premises assume the truth of a conclusion instead of supporting it, similar to the basic relationship of an assertion versus a demonstration. Bulverism, when someone addresses secondary questions about ideas rather than the primary one, thus avoiding the basic question or evading the issues raised by the trains of reason. Cherry picking, only addressing the evidence that supports your claim and ignoring the evidence that refutes it. False dilemma. A false dilemma or a false dichotomy is a fallacy that lies not in an invalid form of inference, but a false premise. Like, if X, premise 1, X equals Y, premise 2, Y equals Z, conclusion, X equals Z. If premise 2 is incorrect, like Y does not equal C, that's false dichotomy. Now, keeping this in mind, let's dissect the following arguments. This argument was originally made to discredit all scientists. Is there a fallacy? If so, which one? Why don't scientists tell us what they really know? Are they afraid of public panic? So it is fallacious with the false dichotomy fallacy. Here are some variations of the same argument, but this time there's a logically sound one. Can you spot it? So number one is scientists are untrustworthy because they don't share their findings to the public. Well, scientists are untrustworthy because they don't share their findings with the public. So the premise is that scientists don't share their findings to the public. The conclusion is that scientists are untrustworthy. That does not follow. Those are basically the same premises as the last topic, the last argument that we covered. Number two, the fact that scientists do not share their findings to the public is evidence that they are untrustworthy. Though that the first statement is false, it does serve as evidence that they are untrustworthy. But do not confuse evidence with sufficient evidence. So, this argument is logically sound, but not true. There is a difference. The difference between when something is logically sound, it means that their logic follows. But if something is true, that means that it's like factually accurate. Number three, the fact that scientists do not share their findings to the public serves as sufficient evidence to deduce that some scientists are untrustworthy. It is fallacious because it says serves as sufficient evidence. So enough evidence, a sufficient amount of evidence to conclude that scientists are untrustworthy. So the fact that scientists do not share their findings to the public means that they're untrustworthy. That does not logically follow. It seems like it does, but it doesn't perfectly. It would increase the probability. At best, it would increase the probability of them being untrustworthy, or increase the probability that they're liars, or whatever untrustworthy, however you want to define untrustworthy, or untrustworthy tendencies of people, or tendencies of people who are untrustworthy. But all you have to do is get rid of sufficient before the word evidence in there, and that would be logically sound. But since it is in there, it is indicating that because scientists do not share their findings to the public, that they are untrustworthy, making it a false, or making it fallacious. I truly hope that you do take this knowledge to heart and really use what you learned today in everyday use, because this is very, very important, especially for logic and arguments. So I appreciate all of you watching, and I really hope that you learned something of value. Thank you.